Hello, and welcome back to the Mental Health Empowerment Summit. I'm your host, Jana Short, and today I'm really excited to be here with Virginia Oman. I just got to tell you a little bit about this lady, but before I do, I want to tell you, everyone I've reached out to do this summit with me, all the experts that are super busy, have crazy things going on, they literally stopped everything and said yes. And Virginia was not only one of those people, she had to track me down to remind me that I'd asked her to be in this. And she did. And so I'm so grateful you did that, Virginia. Let me just tell you a little bit about her. In 1988, Virginia was diagnosed with MS, which has progressed to secondary progressive in 2003. After watching her body decline and losing all hope of having a meaningful future, she decided to forge her own path and develop her own tools in hope and finding improvement. She found much more in the just improvement. She has completely transformed her life, not to only back to a place of total health, but with 100 times more energy and excitement than ever before. I love this. She has developed a plan which allowed her to ride a two-wheel bicycle. I know that sounds crazy, but come on. Like for me, one day getting out of bed was a huge success for me. So riding a bicycle is amazing, which everyone, including her doctor, says she was impossible and would never happen. Transforming lives through the specialized knowledge of utilizing the incredible mind-body connection, positive psychology, and helping individuals achieve demonstrated and measurable success in increasing her sense of well-being and happiness. Virginia, first of all, thank you for being here. But I say this all the time, everything you want to have happen in your life starts between these two beautiful ears of yours. So whatever they're telling you can't do, start putting in between your ears what I can do. Maybe I can ride a bike again. I'm so glad you're here.
Well, thank you, Jana. And it's an honor to be here because you and I share a very similar passion and a story of rising out of the ashes, so to speak, of going down to the very bottom of despair and then rising up from that and wanting nothing more than to share how to do that with others. So thank you for your work.
I love that you brought that up, that we both came from like a space where we felt we had no hope. We felt lost, scared, alone. And by the way, it wasn't a straight uphill climb for me going out.
I know, it's not like me.
Right? There were dips where you're like, oh gosh, I've worked so hard. Why is this happening again? But because of that mindset, that positive psychology that you're going to be talking about, it made it seem easier going through it. Yes. So I want to just talk a little bit about some of the notes I have here. And it says here that your chosen modality is therapy is positive psychology. So can you tell us exactly what that is and why you've chosen that approach to helping other people?
Sure. I'm trained in regular psychotherapy, which is the regular study of psychology about depression, anxiety, helping people get through that, which is definitely a part of what I do. But I went further than that when I learned about this amazing field of positive psychology. Was developed in the late 1990s by Dr. Martin Seligman. Amazing work. You could read his books. They're all on Amazon. And what he did, the reason I gravitated towards it was, as I said, regular psychology focuses on what gets people out of a place of depression or anxiety. Positive psychology, what he did was he researched for decades, what is it that makes people happy? What is it that makes people thrive? And he collected all this research and created this amazing movement. And I wanted to be part of that. So I did postgraduate work in studying positive psychology. And it makes such a difference, as I'll describe later on. And when I describe my practice and how I use it, it's phenomenal to help people create what it is they want in their daily life and their dreams, aspirations to create the life that they want. So that's where I wanted to be. And it adds so much to the therapeutic process.
I completely agree. We hear things called placebo effect. That's all the power of our mind working. We hear people who are ill and say, if I can just make it to my daughter's wedding.
Yes.
They do. They just make it to their daughter's wedding. Then you'll see an instant decline because they gave their brain permission to make it, their body.
That's right.
What are the possibilities if we say, what if I live to 100? I'm going to take this to 100, right?
Exactly. And beyond.
What our mind can do is unbelievable.
It is. It's limitless.
I agree. But here's the thing. This is a little controversial because some people will say goal setting is horrible because you'll fail. Right.
I used to think that.
Me too. But now I set goals for the littlest things, right? Today, I'm going to get these 3 little things done. That's my goal. I'm off to do it. And if I don't get it done, it is not a failure. It's really feedback. Wow. I needed more time to finish that. It's like incredible feedback. But why do you include goal setting?
Goal setting is so important. First of all, you have to distinguish, is it your dream that you're thinking about, or is it a goal? Because they're 2 completely different things. And a goal is your roadmap for getting to your ultimate place that you want to get to. It would be equivalent to if a person was wanting to fly a plane from New York City to San Francisco, and they didn't bother getting a map or charting the course along the way. We would think, of course, nobody would do that. That would be ridiculous. But that's what people do with their lives. And when you have goals, and what I do in my practice is do a specific kind of goal setting where we break it down into specific steps. It's your map for how you're going to get to what you want. Step by step, we go through. And you're right. I do goals for not only long-term, mid-term, but I have people write out goals for their day, because it makes a difference. If you do goal setting right, it's not only your map of where you're going, you want to stay on the course, but you want to be able to measure it, which you can do with goals, but also it's a huge motivator when you have these goals. And you look at them and review them and you see them and you see yourself moving forward. It's incredible, as you know.
It is. And by the way, I use goal setting for simple things like my marriage. This is what I want my marriage to look like this year.
Sure.
And here's some of the things I'm going to set goals for on my side that I can do to help that happen. Our friendships. How many times do we say, oh, I meant to call you, but life got in the way, right? And then life got in the way for a day, then a month, then a year. And pretty soon it's been years since you talked to your best friend. So I literally set goals for my relationships and what my expectations are for myself to be a contributor in that relationship. We can do this for mental health. We can do this for relationships, for business, for so many things. And all it is, like you said, the roadmap to get us there.
Of how to get there. I even do it, I call them recipes, and I work with clients to help we both together figure out what it is, what they need to do, what are the specific steps they need to do every day, 4 or 5 things to create a day that goes well and lifts them up. And then conversely, I have them write out a recipe for how to create a lousy day. Because you have to know those things too. So you know where you're going, which you're picking, because it's totally up to you and within your control. That's the great news.
I love that you have them create a lousy day too, because I do the same thing. And my lousy day is not getting up when I'm supposed to. I've already started with a failure, basically. So I love, now I fly out of bed, right? Because I know that I've started my day successfully.
That's right. And mine is to get up early enough so I can go out for my hike. That sets everything else up.
Agreed. 100%. Self-care, putting that in your day is so important. Yes. So what distinguishes the service you provide to your clients from the mental health therapists that are out there?
What I do is really more like life transformation. I help transform people's lives by whether it's getting them out of a place of darkness and despair, all the way to helping them create the life that they truly desire. And that's where positive psychology comes in. So that's a distinguishing factor for me, is that I also move on to utilize positive psychology with them to help them identify the things that will make them thrive, that they need to have in their every day and every week and every month, which creates your life. You know, that's what life is made of: every day, every week, every month. And then it's all a collection of that. And so it's all about creating the best of those that we can. Another thing that separates me, I think, is, besides the fact I've been doing this for over 30 years, so I've been able to filter down what it is that really is effective with people and then let all the other stuff go. And I'm able to do that because I've been in practice for so long. And thirdly, because I walk this talk, the things that I use, the techniques that I use, all have proven. I'm walking testimonial. I got to the place, as you said in your intro, because of chronic progressive MS. I watched as my body just slowly deteriorated to the point where I couldn't walk, I couldn't work, I lost everything. I lost my home because I couldn't work anymore. Everything was horrible. And most horrible for me, the worst part was losing my ability to participate in life, because I'm very active. And if I couldn't do those things, I got to a point where I really seriously considered exiting out. I didn't want to have a life where I couldn't participate. So that was a horrible place of despair. And at the very last minute, I decided to listen to my own intuition. And I developed a plan of action based on what my body was telling me and what my intuition was telling me. And then I followed that plan. I put all the other stuff aside. I let go of what the doctors were recommending, all of that. I just followed my plan. And slowly, I didn't see any results in the beginning. It was exhausting, but I was determined to live. That's what I wanted to do. And so I kept at it, and I kept at it very, very slowly. It started. And then before long, what I noticed was, oh my God, I can make it through the day with only one nap now. That's huge. And then before long, I didn't need to take a nap. And I thought, okay, we're on to something here. And then I kept going, I kept going. So I took to the pool initially because I could no longer run. I could no longer stand. And when I started in the pool, I couldn't even kick. I couldn't even kick my legs from one end of the pool to the other. So I developed my own body stroke to get me through the water. And when people go to my website, they get to see a film, they'll see this stroke that I developed because I couldn't kick. But I started there and I slowly worked up, and fast forward to where I am today. I'm not only walking, but I'm hiking. And yes, I'm riding a two-wheel bicycle again, which is something my neurologist said, impossible, don't even try. It's ridiculous. It's so dangerous. But I listened to my body, and my body was saying, we're doing this. We're going to go. And it took 11 and a half months of working on it every day, but I got there. And like I said, I now have not only more energy, but more joy and passion in my life. And all I want to do is share this message of hope with anyone who, for whatever reason, needs to feel a place of movement coming out of darkness and being able to live the life that they want to live.
Well, Virginia, that is amazing. I feel like it does feel like a magic pill, because I feel like like an awakening happened.
Yes.
When I tapped into that positivity, think shutting, that doesn't mean I don't have negative thoughts. It means I recognize them now. I'm like, I don't know where that came from, but it happened in here.
That's
And I
right.
now
Yeah.
change those, right? So
Yes.
in your 30 years as a psychotherapist, what are the most common inner beliefs that cause people to seek out therapy?
Good question. It's interesting because people don't know what their inner beliefs about themselves are. They don't come into therapy saying, will you help me change my internal beliefs? Because a lot of times they're unaware of it. They're unaware of it. We all have them. Every single one of us has some negative self-beliefs. But what they don't realize is that's what got them into therapy, is because of these negative self-beliefs and self-doubt, they are suffering the effects of that, which is depression, anxiety, hopelessness. And so it's amazing. And so what I do first off is help them identify not only what these beliefs are, but help them understand how they work, how these beliefs work to become a filter out through which they see life through these negative self-beliefs. And these beliefs are so ingrained in them from early on, can be as early as 2 to 3 years of age. And they determine a person's ability, even how they think about themselves, as early as 6 years of age. So the most common, there's a list I've collected of about 10 to 12, but the 4 most common ones that I'm finding with people over all these years is, I'm not important, I'm not valuable, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough. Very, very common. And you can see, as if you're looking out through a lens of these filters, and you're looking out at everyday life through those self-statements, of course, you're going to feel depressed and hopeless. Of course, life is not going to go well.
I think those are probably the most common ones that I come up against as well. And by the way, it's when we're telling you where we're at now, that doesn't mean that every day we don't have to keep resetting ourselves to make sure we stay on that path. It literally, I will hear something that triggers an old belief in me, and all those feelings, I feel them coming up. But the difference is now I know where that's coming from. Yes. And I know how to fix that and control that and to redirect it and not ignore it, right? And shove it down. So once you recognize those things, and as you said, Virginia, most of these things are developed in us before the age of 5. Think of little kids, right? When you were a baby, you run around naked, you like had food all over your face and in your hair, and you didn't care. But things happen along the way, like put your clothes on. Don't let anyone see you like that. That's gross. Yeah. Put that on. Pretty soon we start developing these beliefs in us that we can't do this. We have to act a certain way. We have to be a specific kind of person. Everything else is wrong. And it's really, once you start recognize that and working with someone to help you through that, it literally is like an awakening to your body and your mind. Like, wow, where was this all my life? And it took me until my 50s, and like you, something traumatic happening, to being forced into having no other option, but to start looking at that. And I hope that every single one of you listening do not have to wait that long.
No.
Virginia, what I want to ask you next, with the time that we have left, is, and I think this is so important, because we're trying to get people help, and we're trying to change the way people think about and speak about mental health. So when someone is looking to find a mental health therapist, what are the most important qualities that you recommend them to look for?
I always advise them to do their shopping big time. It's like a big investment. Think of how valuable and intimate this relationship is therapeutically when you are sharing your innermost self with another person who starts out as a stranger. So I always say, shop around, know what it is you're looking for. I'd say interview at least 3 different people and know what questions to ask ahead of time. You want to ask about their specific training. You want to tell them, just in general, what are the effects, what are the symptoms that you're experiencing that you want help with, and how are they trained, and what paths would they use based on their training and their technique to help you with that, to get to a better place. I'd be very specific with them. And thirdly, make sure that you have a connection, that even if you're speaking on the phone, that you feel that they are really listening to you and have understood the question before they answer it. You want a real sense of presence from them.
One of the whole reasons I wanted to do this whole summit was to bring awareness to exactly what you just said, that you feel like you have a connection with them. Shop around, because it's your mental health. It's very important that you find the right fit, because otherwise you'll feel like you failed, and it isn't you that failed because you reached out for help. But people come to me all the time like, I've heard your story. I love where you've come with your story. Can you help me do that? No. I'm a mindset coach. That's completely different than a psychotherapist or a therapist. I'm not trained to take somebody struggling with mental health issues through that process. I'm going to open up doors, let people out of the barn, and be like, go have fun.
Yeah.
Able to help you through that. So finding the right people is really important. That's why we have brought you so many different people like Virginia throughout this whole summit, so you can connect with someone. Here's the most exciting thing. Virginia, just like all the other people, they not only showed up in a inspiring, in a powerful way, but they bring something to you. And she brought this beautiful gift as secrets to a powerful mind-body connection. Tell us a little bit about that gift for them.
Yeah, and they can also get that. It's a free download I'm giving. It's on my website, virginiaoman.com, and I'm sure that you'll share that, I'm hoping. Anyway, it is, that's what, because I'm trained as a mental health therapist, a life coach, and a wellness coach, I'm able to harness this incredible mind-body connection with them so that they can really utilize it. And this document talks about exactly what it is and how to use it. A lot of people think, oh, yeah, mind body, I've heard about that, I know all that. No, they don't. So I put it in my own words about what the mind-body connection is, why it's so important to know about, and how to utilize it. And they can get that for free.
That is a beautiful gift. Thank you so much, Virginia. And if anyone is in a really dark place right now and you're struggling, you're in a mental health crisis, we are putting the number below where you can reach out to somebody and talk to a crisis center anonymously. Just get it all out there. If you don't have anyone else to talk to, we want you to know you're not alone. And just picking up the phone, if you're in a place that you need help right now, we want to make sure you get it. So that number is listed in every single one of the episodes so that you can use that. But if you're in a place where you're wanting to make that health journey, there's tons of experts for you to reach out to, grab their free gifts, start building that rapport with them, and find the right connection for you to move on in your mental health journey. Thank you so much, Virginia, for being with us today.
Thank you. And thank you for all your work that you do. And also for them to know that I always offer free consultation.
Oh, I love that. So many of our experts have done that. And that is such a beautiful give, because I know that like one thing is that we don't ever get back and never have enough of is time. So when an expert shows up and says, look, I'm going to give you a free consult, take them up on it. Yeah. So thank you again, Virginia.
You're more than welcome. Thank you.